Okay, today session is about the part 2 of arrays. So we'll have a recap and then we'll deal with programs of one-dimensional array, and then we'll have an introduction to two-dimensional array. So we saw what is an algorithm. Well-defined sequence of steps is defined as an algorithm. It transforms an input to an output. We can call an algorithm is well designed when we can convert an algorithm into a computer program using programming language. So algorithm has 5 characteristics. One is it is consists of set of unambiguous instruction. That is, each step in algorithm is specific for one step. It does not consist of many steps or mixed of steps in a single step. It is very clear and distinct. So it is unambiguous instruction. It solves a specified problem. For example, algorithm is used to solve a prime number or not, or to check if a number is positive number or not. So a specified problem is solved. And in an algorithm, we will specify the range of values of the input to be processed. It should produce output or result in finite time. And algorithm should be of natural language. It should not have any programming languages syntax. And data structures, we saw what is a data structure. It is a way in which data is stored and organized. So the efficiency of the algorithm is directly proportional to the data structures used. So common data structures are array, linked list, stack. So all these are linear data structures. Arrays are the used to implement matrices. So elements are stored in continuous memory location or contiguous memory locations. And linked list is used for dynamic memory management because it is not stored in continuous memory locations, and each element will have the next element address in it. And stack is used for function calls, and stack has a property where insertion and deletion happens at the same end of the list. It's like a school bag where you keep the books and take off the books from the same side. So insertion and deletion happens at the same end of the list. So queue insertion happens at one end and deletion happens at the other end. Like you're giving in a computer print option, you're printing multiple documents. When you give the input to the computer, you get a lot of papers as printout from the computer. So printer gives lots of multiple documents in a from the printer. So queue is like insertion at one end and deletion at the other end. So tree, it is used to represent a hierarchical structure. It is used to maintain files and directories in an operating system. And graphs is like for website, we have, when we type a keyword, we have several links. And in each link, we may have sublink also. So linking various sites through the roadway. So graph is used for that. So it does not have linear or hierarchical ordering. So queue and tree, graph or not, they are like non-linear data structures. So we saw this algorithm to check if number is positive or not based on the 5 step. As you can see, all these 5 step follows the 5 properties which we have discussed. An algorithm has an unambiguous instruction. If you see in each step, each instruction is specific. First one, print give any number, only one step at a time. Read the number. You don't have multiple steps in a single step. So it is unambiguous, and it solves a specified problem whether we are going to check the number is positive or not. And it does not have any programming language syntax. It is a very simple English language. So these are the properties which we have to incorporate while writing an algorithm. And we saw the Java program for it, like whether to check whether it's positive or negative number. Based on the algorithm we have written, we have mapped to the programming language. So first we are getting the number. So for that we are using scan statements and system.out and getting the number, and then we are scanning, and then we are checking the conditions. Then we saw what is the data structures. There are two types. One is primitive and non-primitive. And we saw non-primitive, there are two types, linear and non-linear. And in linear, we saw like array, linked list, stack, and queue, and non-linear, trees and graphs. So linear, we are going to see on array. We saw one-dimensional array in the last session. So we know array, it can be defined as an orderly arrangement of homogeneous element. Homogeneous element means similar kind of elements. So they are ordered, they are grouped based on the similar elements. We saw the example of a department store where same brand of items are grouped together. So same elements are stored in statically in a continuous memory locations. So since they are stored in continuous memory location, they are static in nature. They are not dynamic. They are static in nature. So they have compile time carry binding also, and they are user friendly also. So if you see array, this is an array. You have 0 to 9 as the memory locations, and in each location we have the value stored. So it is stored as continuous in continuous location. So this is an array of length 10, and we saw the first index as 0 and the last index is 9. And arrays are of two type. One is one dimensional and two dimensional. So one dimensional means you are storing these similar items and it is represented by a single attribute. When you're storing a similar items which is represented by a single attribute or a single index or single subscript, it is known as one dimensional array. For example, we can take an example of marks secured in a subject by the students of a class. They are represented by one dimensional array. So array name is A, and in square brackets we have to give how many elements. So 1 to n. So like a of 1, a of 2 up to a of I. So this I is the index of the array or a subscript of the array. For example, these are the student marks of 5 students, like 100, 95, 85, 45, and 65. So it is stored in the location 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I want to access the third student mark, means I have to give like a of 2, where 2 is the index of the subscript or index of the array. When I give a of 2, I get the value 85, which is stored in the array location 2. So how to declare array in Java? We have to use type and the variable name and followed by the square brackets, or you can have type followed by square brackets or variable name. So these examples we saw, like int, then you're giving the array name int array, or you can give like int, then int array. So for the one program we saw in the previous session about how to access the elements of the array using for loops. So first we have to declare the integers. So this is an algorithm which I didn't discuss in the previous session. So we saw just the program, like how an array is declared, how the memory is allocated, how the elements are initialized, and how we are accessing and printing the elements using for loop. So for this, we have to write the algorithm, which I've given as an assignment for you. I'm discussing it now. So step 1, we have to declare the integers of array. So we have to follow the 5 properties of an algorithm. It has to be unambiguous instruction. So each step is a specific step and it does not overlap with any other step. And it should be independent of any programming language syntax. So I don't have any Java keywords here. Everything is simple English. So declare the integers of array, allocate the memory for array. Step 3 is you have to initialize each elements of the array, and step 4 is accessing the elements of the array using for loop. So declare the integers of array. Once the algorithm is written, you can write the program. Declare the integers of array. How will you declare? We have to give the type followed by the square bracket, then followed by the array name. Then we have to allocate the memory for 5 integers. So step 2 is allocate the memory of array. So in order to allocate, we have to give the array name ARR, then using new keyword followed by the data type which you're using, integer, how much memory you're going to allocate, 5. So this is how you have to allocate memory. Step 3 is initialize each elements of the array. So 5 elements you have to, in the 5 memory location, you have to give what value are you going to store. For that, you have to use the array name followed by the square brackets, and then you have to give the index which we saw as subscript I. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have to give a array name followed by the subscript, then you have to store the value in it. Array name followed by the subscript, you have to store the value. For 0 to 4, 5 elements you're storing it. Now you have to access those elements. For that you're using for. So the fourth step is accessing the elements of the array using for loop. So for loop, using for loop, you're going to access these 5 elements. For that, you should have an condition statement. first initialization statement, condition statement, and then an iteration statement. So initialization statement, you have I is equal to 0. From 0, you have to check each time whether at each iteration the I value has crossed the limit of the length of the array. If it has crossed, then the loop closes. And then at each iteration, you have to increment the I value. First, it will be 0. Then in the next iteration, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4. At fourth and at fifth time, when it comes, the condition fails and the for loop stop. So system dot out or print ln, then you have to print the statement element at each index, and then you have to access like arr of I is the value which you have given in the initialization statement. I is equal to 0. From 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, it will print all the elements. So you can see the output here. So element at index 0, 10, at index 120, index 230, and index 340, and index 450. Another assignment which I have given is to write an algorithm for prime number. I have discussed the prime number program. I have also said that a prime number is a number which is divisible by itself and by 1. So here you can see in the for loop, the condition is num divided by 2. That means if you take any number like 10, for example, till 5, if you check, it's more than enough, because more than that, half of the number won't have its divisibility. For example, 10, if you see, the highest divisibility will be 5. So you can understand, like for 100, the highest divisibility will be 50. So half of the number only, if it is enough to check if the number has divisibility. To check a divisibility of a number, it's enough to check the half of the number. So for that only, this condition num divided by 2. So what the algorithm I've written here, this is an assignment which I have given you. Like step 1, you have to declare the sufficient variables to store number, and you have a flag variable. As you can see, you are changing the flag variables like true or false. If it is prime, then it will be changed into false if it is not prime. If it is prime, the true remains as such. So you're using a flag variable, and then you're reading and getting the input from the user, and you're storing the number in a variable. And I've told you just now, you're looping the number from 2 to num divided by 2 to check divisibility of any number. For example, if you take 4, it will be divisible till 2 and 4. So it is enough to, if you check, until the half of the number. So set the flag to false and break the loop. Check if the flag variable remains to true if the number is prime, and else the number is not prime and the flag variable is false. So this is the algorithm for the prime number. So we saw one-dimensional array. We'll see some programs in it. So today we are going to see about sum of elements in an array program. So for this, we have 3 steps in it. First, you have to declare the array variable with elements, and if you want, you can have any other essential variables. And then in step 2, you're looping through the array elements and you're adding it to the sum variable. And in step 3, you're printing the value inside the sum variable. So as you can see, it's a very simple program. So you have a function, you have a class, x2 or anything. You can have like sum or sum of elements, anything. And then you're having this main function. So main function will have, as usual, the access identifier, that is public, and then you have the static keyword. Why we are having static keyword for main function is you need not allocate memory for this. You need not allocate objects for this, which will save the memory. And then you have the array. Step 1 is what? Declare the array variable. So you're declaring the array variable. Here, instead of getting it from the user, I've declared what are the elements inside the array itself. So the main criteria to declare the array variable, you should have the type first, followed by the array name. Array name is my underscore array, followed by the square brackets. And then you have to give the elements in it. So I have given 1 to 10. Initially, I'm initializing the sum variable to 0. Now I'm looping through the array. So for int I colon my underscore array, and each iteration, what will happen? I will be added to sum, added and stored inside sum. So first iteration, 1 will go, 1 will be stored in 1 plus 0, and it will be stored in sum as 1. In the next iteration, 2 plus 1, 3 will be stored in sum. Again, in next iteration, 3 plus what is there inside the sum? It is 3. So 3 plus 3, 6. So 6 will be updated in the sum. Same way from 4 to 10, it will be updated for each iteration, and then the sum is printed. Sum is 55 totally. So this is the output here. So I'll repeat once more this sum of elements in an array algorithm. So you have to declare the array variable with elements and other essential variables, and you have to loop through the array elements and add to the sum variable. Print the value inside the sum variable. So you have this program here. We have to declare the array as follow, and then the sum, and then you have to add at each iteration to the sum value, and then we have to finally print the sum. So two-dimensional array, it is defined as an array of array. So 2D array, they are organized as matrices, and it is organized as rows and columns. In one-dimensional array, we had only one subscript like I, but in two-dimensional, we'll have ij in a matrix format.